Hey everyone, welcome back and thanks for tuning in. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make the perfect pork roast in the Weber kettle, and we're also going to make some duck fat potatoes to go with it. Now the key to getting that perfect crackling on a pork roast is all in the preparation. Now whatever roast you're using, loin, leg, shoulder, something else, belly, we're using a loin today. You want to get it out of your vac seal bag or whatever packaging it's in. Pat the skin dry, and the next thing we're going to do is pierce the skin. So if you've got a metal skewer, a corn cob holder, I've got a jacquard. They work really well. It's basically a meat tenderizer, a series of retractable needles. We're going to go ahead and just pierce the skin all over. All right, so what we've done by jacquarding it or piercing the skin is we've created a bunch of little holes in the skin for moisture to escape out of. So what we're going to do now to get that moisture out is cover the skin in salt. We're just going to wrap some foil up around the edges just below the skin to protect the meat so we don't cover that in salt as well. So we'll go ahead and do that. Get it into the fridge overnight uncovered to draw all that moisture out, and we'll come back tomorrow before we're ready to cook it. All right, so our pork's been in the fridge overnight. We don't have to do too much more to that, so we're going to get started on prepping some duck fat roast potatoes. So simple, but super tasty. All we're going to start doing is peeling these potatoes, cutting them into whatever chunk size you want to serve up, and then we're going to boil them until they soften up. So we'll get started. All right, so while our potatoes are cooking away, we're going to get this Weber set up. Here's a tip, so get both your charcoal baskets full with however many briquettes you need so you don't overfill your chimney starter or underfill it. Start your fire lighter, get our chimney over top, and then we can pour our briquettes from our baskets into our chimney. And then we have the perfect amount we need for this roast cook. Right, so our potatoes are on, our briquettes are on. While we've still got a few minutes, we're going to finish prepping this pork roast. So all we're going to do is get rid of that salt that's left on the skin from overnight. We're just going to scrape it off with some paper towel. If you want to pour boiling water over the skin to get it off, I've seen people do that before, that's fine. So after we've done that, we're just going to give it a very light brush with olive oil and then a very light salt over the top of that, and it's good to go. Right, so our briquettes are pretty much done. We'll get them in the baskets. And we'll put our lid on, got both vents wide open, and we'll let our Weber preheat for 5 or 10 minutes. Right, I've just turned the heat off. Potatoes have softened up just so I want them to, just so you can pretty much stick a fork in them with little resistance. So we'll strain them now. Right, now into our strained potatoes, we're gonna put a massive tablespoon of duck fat. You can get that from most supermarkets. And we're just going to gently stir the potatoes around. You don't want to be too aggressive because the potatoes are quite soft. Then they can go into a tray. In this case, I've got 2 trays. Right, then any excess duck fat, pour over the potatoes. Then give them a season. You can go salt and pepper. Got some of this stuff. Absolutely perfect with potatoes, chips, fried chicken. Potato Pimp by Heavenly Hell. I'll put a link down in the description if you want to check it out. Just a light coat. Now everything's ready to go on the Weber. So we'll get our potatoes in. Get them down the bottom. Probably noticed I left my cooking rack out. I usually like to leave it out until I'm ready to get the pork on. Beautiful little pork roast. And we'll get our lid back on. All right, so now everything's on. We're just gonna leave it. This usually takes about an hour per kilo. That roast is just over a kilo, so it's probably gonna take just over an hour, but we're only gonna use that as a rough guide. We're going to cook this pork roast until we reach an internal of about 145 Fahrenheit or 63-ish degrees Celsius. And if you're looking for a temperature range for the Weber, that's going to be around 500 Fahrenheit or 260 Celsius. I don't have a temp gauge. I'm happy to just run the baskets as hot as possible. Really good for that crackling build-up. So we're just going to let it go And we're probably going to check on it in about 45 minutes to an hour just to see how that crackling's coming along. So we'll come back then. Right, it's been just shy of an hour. Let's have a look. Whew, that crackling has come up beautiful. Those potatoes are looking nice. Let's have a check of the internal. Still got about half an hour to go, I reckon. So we'll get this lid back on and come back soon. Right, so it's been about an hour and a quarter in total. That crackling is looking beautiful. Let's have another check of the internal. We're pretty much bang on where we want to be. So we'll get this out and give it a rest and have a look at the potatoes. All right, so as you can see, here's one of the little duck fat roast potatoes. You can hear that crunch, soft, light and fluffy on the inside. They are so, so good. So I might put the potatoes back in the Weber just to keep them warm while we let that roast rest for 10 minutes. And then we'll come back, slice it up. We'll have a look at that crackling a bit closer and have a taste. All right, seriously, crispy, crackling all over. Doesn't get much better than that. Let's have a taste now. Ooh, have a look at that. Nice and juicy. I know it's just going to be beautiful and tender. That's why I absolutely love pork loins. Oh, perfect. So tender, so juicy. And that crackling. It doesn't get much better than that for a pork roast in the Weber. Tender, juicy meat, perfect, crispy crackling, and then duck fat roast potatoes are the perfect side. So if you've got any questions, drop them in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer all of them. But as for now, this is going to go get served up with the family. So thanks for watching and we'll see you next time.